All right, so if you're wondering what happened after I got fourth at the 99 USA, everything was real easy sledding after that, right? Easy pro card. Well, not necessarily. Stay tuned and find out. All right, so welcome to part 5 of my little mini history documentary. And the last time we talked, I told you about when I competed in 1998 at the Nationals and I got smashed, I got crushed. And then I came back in 1999, I moved up a weight class to the heavyweight class, and I actually got 4th at the Mr. USA. That was very good. I was very excited, I was very rejuvenated, the pro card was right in front of me. I was on the low end of the weight class. I had plenty of room to grow into the class and add more muscle. So I decided to take skip nationals and take the whole year to get better for the following year at the USA, which would have been in 2000. Worked really hard that off season. And if you've seen my YouTube video where I was squatting 585, then 600 for real pretty solid easy reps, that was actually that year. I was moving some big weights, I put on some good muscle, and I showed up at the 2000 USA and I thought I had a great shot to win. I was very excited. I had gained maybe 3 pounds, 4 pounds of muscle, but I felt like it all had went where I needed it. I'm weighing in backstage. See, back then what you would do is they called the weight classes. Like when they said heavyweights, all the heavyweights lined up. It's a little different nowadays. Nowadays they just have kind of this 4-hour window where people randomly come in and check in. But back then it was kind of a big deal. The weigh-in was huge because you got to see everybody lined up to weigh in. I mean, we lined up, all 25 or 30 of us. You got to see everybody around you, like what they look like. It was quite an event actually. So the guy in front of me was a guy named Branch Warren. And I was like, oh boy, he's gonna be really hard to beat. That dude's a monster. So I turned around and the guy behind me is Troy Alves. Now Troy Alves has one of my favorite physiques of all time. So I'm like, okay, I've seen 2 heavyweights and I'm already down to 3rd place. So if I beat everybody else, then I can beat last year's 4th place and get 3rd. So it turns out it was a really tough show. Abbas Khatami was in it. Tavita was in it again, who had got 2nd the year before. He was a guy that threw the trophy, went right past my ear and shattered backstage. Just a number of just awesome competitors in that show. I ended up getting 8th place. So they called out the top 5, and I wasn't in the top 5. Then they moved 3 of them out, moved 3 of them in, and I was one of the 3 that they moved in. So I ended up getting 8th place. It was very deflating. It was really deflating because I thought I had made all the improvements necessary. That is probably the time when it hit me that contests aren't a most improved contest. It was great that I was improved and I was better, but it doesn't matter when Troy Alves and Branch Warren are better than you. It doesn't matter how much you improved. If they're better than you, they're better than you. And those 2 were clearly better than me. So it was like, wow, I made all these improvements. I actually went backwards. And that was the nature of the beast, the USA and the Nationals, back in those days. They gave away 1 pro card. Well, they'd actually moved to 2 pro cards in the USA at the time, the overall and 2nd in the overall. And the Nationals was giving 1 pro card away. So very, very few pro cards were being distributed. Nowadays, there's a lot of them being distributed, and it's not as deep, but it was very, very deep back then. It was very, very difficult. So again, you know, you're probably noticing this reoccurring theme. I feel great, I make some improvements, good things happen, I think the pro card's right in front of me, and then bam, I'm brought back to reality. So I went back to the drawing board and I said, okay, well apparently I need another year to get better. I just set my sights on the 2001 USA. Let me just take another year and get better. So the 2001 USA, I made some fantastic gains, did really well. 3 weeks out, I was ready to go, I was ready to compete. And I was working with the coach at the time, and I can't really blame him for it. I agreed to do it, but we decided to cut all my carbs and double my cardio. And I was already really lean. And I agreed to it, And I thought, sure, you know, maybe we're going to do this crazy load and I'm going to look, you know, crazy. We did that, and I couldn't get out of the depletion. I was so depleted from all the cardio and the low carbs, I just couldn't get out of it. My coach was saying, you know, once we load you, you're going to come out of it and you're going to look great. And I kept eating and eating and eating as instructed. And the only thing that grew was my stomach. So I had a bloated stomach. My waist was already wide, but it was bloated. And I had a very poor look. I was very disappointed. I ended up getting 13th place. And honestly, I didn't even think I should have been in the top 15. I probably should have been 30th. So at that point, it was kind of like, well, man, maybe I had my opportunity and I missed it. So I didn't even do the USA the following year. I just thought, now I need even more than a year. So I decided to hold off until the 2002 Nationals. I want to share this one last story with you for this video. So the 2002 Nationals was in Dallas, Texas, and I went back to coaching myself and just decided to come in as hard as I could come in. Dieted really hard. I came in really good shape. Bam, another tough class. So you may know some of these names too. The guy that got let me see. The guy that got 12th place was a little guy named Sean Roden. I actually beat Sean Roden, so I was teasing him about it. So I got 10th and he got 12th. There were all the guys from 9th, 8th. 9th was Mike Dragna. He became a pro the next year. 8th was another guy, Jonathan Rowe. He became a pro within a year or two. I think 7th might have been 6th and 7th was somewhere around there was Abbas Katami. Abbas ended up getting his pro card. All these guys ended up getting their pro card. So it was another tough show, but I got 10th. I was in the second call out at Nationals, and Nationals was really loaded, so I didn't feel all that bad. I thought, okay, well, I can be competitive. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to put this thing on hold. I'm going to focus on some other things in my life, and I'm going to tell you what those things were in the next video. But I think maybe you'll be surprised. So thanks for listening, and tune in for the next part of this series.